My friends, today as we read, I want you to be thinking about the comprehension questions. So I'm going to go ahead and read them. Be thinking about these while you read. Here are the questions. What happens if you have your monster count sheep? He gets really sleepy, he eats them, or the sheep run away. What is the main ingredient in the monster's juice? Crickets, worms, or snails? Make sure you're listening for that one in the story. Crickets, worms, or snails? Which is the main ingredient? Instead of lullabies, what should you sing to a monster? A loud, screechy song, the happy birthday song, or the national anthem? What does the story say? Parents are great helpers when putting monsters to bed. Yes or no? Parents are great helpers when putting monsters to bed. Yes or no? Then the bottom says, name one more key detail to putting a monster to bed from the text that has not been mentioned yet. So name one more key detail that they haven't already talked about in this comprehension check, okay? Alrighty, so as I read, listen for all those answers so that when you get to the end, you can go back and answer them. If your monster won't go to bed. Time for bed. Who hates those words more than anything? That's right, your monster. But we all know what happens when a monster doesn't get enough sleep. Massive monster tantrums, refusing to join the sneak up and scare your sister game, and falling asleep in his slug mush. Let's review a bedtime routine guaranteed to help any monster drift off into peaceful nightmare land. Rested and ready to play, toss the slime ball with the rest of the kids and monsters. Don't ask your parents to help you. They know a lot about putting kids to bed, but nothing about putting monsters to bed. It's not their fault. They're just not good at it. Don't bring in your dog to cuddle. She'll bark and whine and chase your monster's tail, and your monster will growl and snarl and chase your dog's tail, which will lead to a monster meltdown. And who wants that besides other monsters? Don't do the monster stomp. Your monster will wiggle and waggle, flick his fur, and clench his jaws, and the next thing you know, he'll be shaking his bristly bottom, and he won't want to stop. And you'll be shaking your unbristly bottom, so it will be a big bottom shaking, waggle wigging, fur flicking, claw clenching monster kid stomp, which will last all night. Save the monster stomp for daytime fun. Don't have your monster count sheep. You know what will happen. And sheep aren't good for monsters' digestion, and all that wool makes him gassy. The sheep is saying, this is bad because the monster's eating him. Don't give your monster a glass of milk. Monsters hate milk unless it's sour and green and smells like dirty underwear. Burp. And if you give them sour, green, dirty underwear smelling milk, they'll stay up all night burping sour, green, dirty underwear smelling burps. And who wants that besides other you-know-whats? I know that's a lot of don'ts. So if your monster won't go to bed, what do you do? Step one, pour your monster a nice big glass of calming, crunchy, oozy bug juice slimed with ooey gooey snail trails. No monster can resist this. And maybe you can't either. Go ahead, take a sip. Are you gonna take a sip of that? Not me. Step two, give your monster an ice cold, shiver-inducing bath to relax him, and make sure to scrub behind his ears with mud soap. Step three, brush your monster's fangs until they are at their smelly, rotten best. And don't forget to floss. Step four, help your monster find his favorite squishy squashy can't go to bed without it toy. Put all the other monster toys in your parents' bed. They will appreciate your thoughtfulness. You think they will? Do your parents like if you put toys in their beds? Read the freakiest, creepiest, scariest story from your bookshelf, screaming where appropriate, and watch your monster's eyelids droop. If your monster asks for one more story, shout, "No way!" and get ready for Step 6. In the key of Screech, sing Shockabye Monster and listen to those gigantic monster snores, along with the snores of your family and maybe even the whole block. Congratulations, you've done it. Your monster has officially gone to bed. You are the master of monsters, the captain of creatures, the baroness or baron of boogeymen. You're so good, everyone in your neighborhood will start asking you to help with their monsters. Uh-oh, looks like that dragon won't put on her pajamas, and that werewolf won't stop howling, and that zombie is annoying the whole family. I know a lot about monsters, but nothing about dragons or werewolves or zombies. I'm out of here. Alrighty, now that we've finished the story, please go into your binder and answer all these questions. I'm going to read them right now. What happens if you have your monster count sheep? He gets really sleepy, he eats them, or the sheep run away. What is the main ingredient in the monster's juice? Crickets, worms, or snails? Make sure you're listening for that one in the story. Crickets, worms, or snails? Which is the main ingredient? Instead of lullabies, what should you sing to a monster? A loud, screechy song, the happy birthday song, or the national anthem? What does the story say? Parents are great helpers when putting monsters to bed. Yes or no? Parents are great helpers when putting monsters to bed. Yes or no? Then the bottom says, name one more key detail to putting a monster to bed from the text that has not been mentioned yet. So name one more key detail that they haven't already talked about in this comprehension check, okay? Now that I've read all the questions, please go get this out of your binder and fill in the bubbles that you think are correct.